Ma'am, a very good morning to all of you. It is a great honor to introduce our honorable guest, Mr. Sameer Rawal, Director, Strategy and Solutions Marketing, Huawei Telecommunications. Sir joined Huawei Telecommunications India as Deputy Director for Idea and BPL account in August 2007. Sir used his existing strong customer relationship with CTO, CFO and CEO to bring more business. Sir also got recognition for winning first deal for Huawei BSS, MW, NGN and STP in Huawei India. Sir won SR Mumbai Circle first time sale for Huawei BTS and MW sale in India. Developed and won many businesses in Idea, $300 million sales with best payment terms and contract quality. Totally responsible for customer experience management, giving them delight factor with quick tab and mutually win-win value propositions. Working with cross-functional team with ease, commanding respect from peers and subordinates due to work ethos. Made internal process documents to enhancing efficiencies in the system and ensuring proactive nature of handling customers. Sir started his career in August 1999 at Research and Development Center of Alcatel India, developing IN and prepaid services. Sir went to Alcatel R&D centers in Sydney and Paris for software development. Sir was the KAM for Reliance and Idea Cellular accounts. Sir built deep and strong customer relationship with CTO, CFO and CEO by giving them differential value propositions to each stakeholders. Sir did his engineering in electronics in 1999 from University of Pune and his executive MBA in 2004 from IIM Kozhikode. He was a gold medalist and scored outstanding grades. Sir did his MS Consultancy Management in 2005 from BITS Pilani. He is a voracious reader who likes to read from management to finance to economics to people behavior. Mr. Rawal is a deep thinker who likes to take a broad and holistic view. He is a team player who prefers to take his team along. Sir is highly process-driven and methodical. May I now invite our honorable guest, Mr. Sameer Rawal, to address the audience. Sir, the podium is all yours.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, friends. Good morning, sir. Yes. I was saying the same thing to Mr. Bala, that this is energy. This 500 people, 600 people sitting out here is the energy. When I received an email from Dr. Seema asking me to, come to your institute and share some practice, I think in less than 15 minutes, generally I don't reply in that 15 minutes, but the first thing I was very proactive in replying, and I said, what my mother taught me maybe 20 years back, it was that if you don't share what you have or your knowledge to others, in the next birth, you get a birth of a crocodile. Maybe because I was very scared of crocodile, that's the reason my mother would have said that. But immediately that, thought came to my mind and I shared with Dr. Seema as well. So I said, I graciously accept your invitation, and whatever limited understanding or experience I will have, I'll be more than happy to share with my friends. I think Mr. Bala raised a very important point, that in 1991, there was no need for marketing. But as we know, post the elections in the US by Barack Obama and the elections that happened in India where Mr. Modi won, we know what is the effect of marketing that can take place. People in this new telecom era, they need to know what is happening. They need to understand what are the factors that influences the dynamics of the market at the same time how they can contribute or assimilate those thoughts. So marketing in that way is nothing but a tool to explain to the people who don't understand properly. Marketing is not just a jargon. Marketing is all about giving value proposition. The value proposition a person needs to understand first. He needs to ingrain himself deeply into that thing. Then only it is able to share the value proposition to the others. So I think I have got this huge, friends out here with, unbundled total energy. I don't see any of the eyes at this point of time who is closed. All the eyelids are wide open. And I'll be happy to take you around to my experience. I have, prepared a very small slide pack for you. And the purpose of the slide pack is that the reason I made it that if you see and if you listen at the same time, it registers on your mind much easier. The title that I've tried to make is that what are the futuristic trends in the telecom, which are going to come in next 5 to 8 years. I hope that will be sufficient for you guys, and in case you have any questions, you may please feel free to ask me. So the title of my presentation is Towards a Better Connected India. And the subtitle which I have deliberately kept for you people is, I would like to talk a little bit futuristic with all you future leaders sitting out here. And I think BITM is playing a significant role, not only in shaping up your careers, but most important is shaping up your thoughts. It is the thought process of an individual, the unsatiable desire that an individual carries in himself, that propels him to reach higher orbits. As we started a little bit late, I'll quickly, run through this presentation. I'll start with a little bit of a Huawei update, an organization with whom I belong to, and I have been a part of this system for the past 7 years. Huawei is a multinational company based out in China. We are almost like $39.5 billion of revenue in 2013. We are Fortune 286 company. We have divided our organization broadly in 3 business groups, which we call it as carriers, which is related to telcos, second thing is related to enterprise, small and medium enterprise, and the third one is consumer, where we tried and address to the needs like with devices, mobile phones, tablets, and dongles. Our net income last year was close to $3.5 billion. An interesting point to share out here is almost like 32% of our last growth came from an enterprise segment, which means that there across the globe there is a significant demand in small and medium enterprise to grow. This could be a yardstick which can be used by a couple of you people who have some entrepreneurial spirits. The reason of Huawei's success, our chairman always says one thing, that we are living in a very high-speed data world. And in this high-speed data world, the only thing which can keep you survive after food, air and water is innovation. unless and until we don't work on innovation more, we will not be in a position to survive after 5 years, 10 years. We'll die. And there is a Chinese saying which says, only you are responsible for your own death. Nobody else. So it all depends on that individual who is running this enterprise, whether he is able to give right sort of, nutrients to that company to survive. The essential nutrients is investments in innovation. As a principle, we invest at least 10% of whatever we earn or our revenues back to research and development. We were amongst the first one to invest in technologies much ahead of competition. Probably that is the reason why we are standing here and achieved $40 billion sales, which our competition took almost 100 years. We did it in 30 years. And I'm very optimistic that maybe one of you guys who has some entrepreneurial skills may, and if he has got the right backing and the right ethos, he may open up his company and who can overtake Huawei. I'll be more than happy. What is Huawei's strategy overall? We have a strategy called as a cloud, pipe and the tap. All the carrier business that we have, which we lead to the telcos, we call it as a pipe. Whether it's a broadband, fixed broadband, mobile broadband, on the transmission side, everything is pipe. All the small and medium enterprise, they sit as the cloud. You'll see the big data. You'll understand about SDN, NFV concepts, about the applications, content generations. They are nothing but they will be as an app. And the last thing, we have a tap. A tap is nothing but a medium by which whatever is available on the cloud delivered through the pipe is get further delivered on the hands of the people. So we have got this cloud, pipe and device strategy with which we want to take on this industry. The next part, which is I think is going to interest you more, is about the growth drivers, the trends, whether in the industry or in the consumer behavior. To start with, I would like to share that what are the essential growth drivers for the next 5 years. The first and the major growth drivers is the demand. The total data traffic in the next 5 years is going to treble. Young people are going to be hungry for data, hungry for that content. So not only we need to create that content, we need to have sufficient pipes for that content and the sufficient devices to ensure that this content gets delivered. The video traffic. The video traffic is also going to increase sufficiently fast. And last thing, I was having a discussion while with Sachin, which was on the mobile, which was on the devices, 4G, a mobile and what he uses at home. We strongly feel that on the device, a consumer at this point of time is using only 350 MB of data. But while you are at home and you have got a Wi-Fi connection, you use almost like 12 GB of the data. So, the fixed broadband side will continue. It will continue to have a good demand. It will continue to have almost 3/4 of the total share. Coming to the industry trends, because the youth is going to demand so much of data, there is a need, imperative need to build a pipe which is going to be as wide as Pacific, that we call it. The pipe, because the data traffic is going to grow, because there will be new applications on the cloud, The Internet of Things will come. Right now, globally, there are only 6.5 billion people. In time to come, when the machine-to-machine technologies takes due shape, it could be a possibility then 20 billion things will talk to each other. Maybe your refrigerator will talk to your car. Your AC will talk to your mobile phones. All these things requires a big pipe. So the first trend, please note, is going to be all the operators will need to have a strong pipe in place. The second, it is going to be the digitization. We all started within first industry revolution was based on mechanical. When the American companies, Fords of the world, they started the mechanical revolution. The second one was an electrical revolution. The third one was an automated. I would like to focus more on the future things. The next revolution is going to be the digitized world. Because there would be so much of data being available. Because so much of algorithms that needs to be created. Because of this, so much of storage requirement will be there. For example, you are using, some sort of applications. You download some either from an Android platform or an iOS platform. They ask for your location information. Why? That Angry Birds application has nothing to know whether Mr. Bala is sitting in the auditorium of BITM or is in Los Angeles. But still, these kind of app providers are storing this data, trying to find out what is your location. These are all being stored in servers. And in 5 years down the line, this will constitute a big data, a database, a reservoir for big data, where these people will be able to analyze that what are the use patterns of this individual, what he likes to eat, what is the browsing pattern this people has, how much time he spends on the gaming, how much time he spends on the, seeing the news, reading the news, etc. So the next is going to be for that, it's the digitization. Everything will be digitized. The third, we have all been listening to that the world is moving into the IP. The trend will now move to IT. With the small and medium enterprises coming, there will be a huge demand for the IT services to pick up. This will demand a very, huge investments from all the enterprises. Maybe the telecom people may be able to relate that earlier we always used to say that it's the TDM world, E1s, that led to an IP side. There was a fixed and mobile convergence. Now, again we are using the word FMC. But now it is fixed mobile plus the content that we are putting. And because of that content, we are trying to see that the focus will now move more to IT part. Why IT part? Because these are the storage and the servers which are going to, collect so much of information about us that the entire platforms needs to be digitized, needs to have IT enabled. I'll just share one statistics with you. There is a huge operator named Telefonica in Latin America. It was running into losses 3 years back. It changed its strategy from IP to IT. It got some loans from the banks and they invested approximately $30 billion into IT. In 2 years, they see returns. Their business proposition they are saying, the value they are saying, it is coming out an EBITDA positive in 4 years. EBITDA positive 4 years is not a bad deal at all. If people pick up the right technology and people invest in right technology. The last trend which we see is that more of the value will shift to the ICT industry. As of today, if I see any of your usage pattern, maybe 70% is voice and SMS in the telecom world. Maybe 10% or 15%, maybe because you are quite young generation, you may be using more data, but the average is 15%, is the mobile data traffic. There's only 5% of the people who use the cloud. This trend will change drastically. Unless the customers are not going to change their thinking, they are not going to change their direction. Please understand, if person continue to invest, if people, for example, you are the operator, you are investing for a stream in 2012, which is giving you $70 at this point of time, but in just 5 years it is going to give you $30. You need to pick up this trend very fast. Whether you need to invest here or maybe you may need to invest here. So this is a very, because the value, the money part is shifting, it's changing the buckets. The right sort of investments should happen at the right places. There is a huge demand. There's a very interesting, I don't know whether you're able to see this, 2013, it is a Pope's, address. In 2000, when Pope gives the address, everyone, earlier used to, see the Pope. Now everyone have the tablets and they are seeing on the tablet. It's a very interesting trend. At this point of time, people are having almost 1 hour of video. It will change to 20 hours of video. It's a huge trend. The patterns are changing. And because the patterns are changing, when I was doing my engineering, the only few fields were there. Electronics, mechanical, civil, chemical. Now you see, because the pattern changes, the world had a different requirement. You guys are doing your post-graduation in telecom and management. So there are people who have observed this trend, invested right, and have created a platform. So this is also one of the trend that we need to see. And the data is going to come from everywhere. People should not say that the data is only going to come from mobile. It is going to come from everywhere, whether it's fixed, mobile, or the videos. There will be a big play for 4 in consumer trends if I see. The first is going to be the apps. Last year, we got to know that Apple paid almost like $8 billion to iOS developers. Because only iOS platform is giving you the paid part, this thing. Android, most of them, no, almost 90% are free apps. But if iOS is paying $8 billion, the total app market is considered to be $80 billion. A very high usage is in games and entertainment. Maybe some of you, entrepreneur, why don't you develop your own app? I think when Chennai Express got launched, I think Red Chillies came up with a game, Chennai Express. Huh? You know how much money did he made? He made 60 crores out of just that app, and he not even invested 60 lakhs for that. So maybe amongst you, one of you, start thinking about it. I don't know who is smart, who is fast. Whosoever will be the fast will create his own app. Maybe it's a very big industry. Second, the smartphone will become a prime connecting device. At this point of time, of course out here many of the people may be having the smartphones, but in India the smartphone penetration is just 12%. That's the reason why the data is not picking up. And probably that's the answer for you, Sachin, when you asked me while I was in the car, that why, and I was asking you, why we need 4G? Because there are no, smartphones available as such. What you will do with the 4G when there is no HD? The third is that 1 Mbps network experience is good enough. I think you may be in position to see there that if you give a 1 Mbps network out here, most of your services can efficiently run. Most of your services, almost 90%. The last trend is on the wearable devices. Deliberately, my son took it off yesterday, but these are, the wearable devices are there. They are not only give you the, the time, but the Bluetooth device. It tells you about the sleeping pattern, about how much steps you are taking in a day, how much calories you are burning, how much, you need to do more if you set the targets. You must have learned about the Google glasses. So these are all the wearable devices. Why one of you not thinking about to have your own entrepreneur to make these wearable devices? Maybe in some other form factor. The last part. This is more of a operator driven. We see globally, worldwide, we have divided the world in broadly 3 categories: super developed markets, developed markets, and emerging markets. You may be shocked to hear that US is only in developed markets. The super developed markets are Japan and South Korea. US, EU, they are all developed markets in terms of the usage of telecom. India still happens to be an emerging market. What are the strategies of operators in these global markets? If you see, in India, Africa, what they need to do is, they still need to invest in mobile broadband. Why? Because in our country, the fixed line is not that popular. It's a very high cost game. Laying the fiber is easy, but maintaining a fiber network is very difficult. You can speak with any of the operator. The first and the foremost thing that he says, laying the fiber is easy, maintaining a fiber is difficult. In the US, the criteria is different. There are only 12 fiber cuts per year. In India, itna to hamare warehouse mein pada hota hai, usme matlab rats and rodents will have more fiber cuts there. We are having almost like 400 fiber cuts. Hence, there is a need for Indian operators to invest more on mobile broadband. Build more of an FTTX resource. Try to work on the IP transformation. I may be skipping the content on the developed markets or the super developed markets because it will be too far-fetched for us. I think this slide is where I would like all the students. I know you are busy yesterday night working late and your eyes may be dozing off, but still you focus a little bit more here. We feel that only 3 types of telcos will be on the winning path globally. We have divided them into 3 broad categories of super pipe, infrastructure landlord, and infrastructure services mall. All of them are providing plain vanilla services, but we have still divided into 3 different categories because of the commonalities. Commonalities between the vision and their strategy, between their business model, how they operate. In Superpipe, you may find operator in Malaysia, a group, Axiata Group or Deutsche Telekom. They may continue, they have a very clear vision and a strategy that they want only to be a pipe. They will continue to be a pipe provider for its users. All the data will be only provided to them. The second category, which is a little bit more complex but futuristic, is an infrastructure landlord, which is predominantly happening in the US markets. There, because the apps development is so huge, they have created their platforms. Like landlord create a platform, they have created a platform of M2M service, of big data platform, of cloud platform, whatever you say, they just create a platform and let these services just have a plug and play model. Not only will they continue to provide a pipe plus a little bit more, which is a creation of platforms. And when they do this, they are in a position to provide high-end services to its subscribers. The average revenue per user in India is just $3. May I ask respectfully to any of the audience who know who has the highest ARPU in the world? Which country? Please raise your hand. China Mobile, highest ARPU. Okay. Okay. I hear it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Besides China? China is the highest. China Mobile has not got the highest ARPU, has got the total revenue. The highest still total revenue belongs to AT&T. The average ARPU in the US market is $45 to $48. In Japan and in Russia it's close to $65. One people spending $65. Just imagine, it's a matter of paying. Just think what kind of pressure is there on a mobile operator to give services. क्योंकि अगर एक आदमी अगर $65 दे रहा है, उसको रिटेन करना जरूरी है. So they need to have such advanced thinking about the consumer behavior. The last part, which we say is an ICT enabled services mall. These kind of operators like Docomo, operators in Korea like KT, SKT, not only they build those kind of platforms which the Americans have made, but at the same time, because of these groups are diversified, maybe Tata in India, I'll give you an example, which you can closely relate to. Because they have got TCS, they have got Tata Motors, they have got, Tata Steel, and they have got Tata Docomo for that matter. So this technology can be used as a platform, They can create these kind of platforms on M2M, the big data platforms, and they can render their own services to them, to its subscribers. Maybe a guy who is buying a Jaguar, or for that matter a Nano, maybe a Wi-Fi card is already being embedded in that car. So this is nothing but machine to machine. So these are the three kind of, globally if you see, these are the telcos which will be on the winning path. Anyone, as per our reckoning, anyone which is not following these three, either they will be acquired or will be merged. With this, I end my presentation.